Hi again guys, and welcome to the third episode of Pumping Iron on Forza Horizon 3 in particular, the review series for the classic muscle cars and the modern muscle cars, and also in there as well are some hot rods or customs from back in the day. It's one of the oldest cars in Forza, the 1940s Ford De Luxe Coupe. This car, if memory serves, was first introduced on Forza 4, and ever since it was introduced in the game back then, I loved it. I love the design of this car, I love vintage cars in general, and this is such a versatile and usable machine from a tuning perspective, because in its initial form, which is one of the lowest class vehicles in the game, you've got such a great canvas to work from, not just visually, but in terms of the stuff that you can do to the car from a performance perspective. Now, as far as the individual ratings for a vehicle like this, of course you have to take every rating with a slight pinch of salt, because it's such an old vehicle that the kind of realistic expectations that you should have from a car like this, of course, need to be different to a modern car. But with that being said, how am I going to rate it? Well, for those who are maybe new to the channel, I break down every car that we review into 5 distinct categories, and they are handling, acceleration, top speed, value for money, usability, and then we combine those 5 together to give the car an overall score out of a possible 100 points. And of course that classification is within its class. So for instance, a car that scores a perfect 100, which is a hot hatch, isn't necessarily going to be as good as a perfect 100 supercar. Of course not. So how am I going to rate this vehicle? Well, first of all, we have a handling, and for the handling on the Ford Deluxe, I'm going to give it a 3. Which is basically dead center. And the reason why I'm giving it that is because it's certainly not a bad handling car, which it very easily could be given its age and size, but at the same time, to be truly competitive against modern machines or even some other classics, it does need a little bit of work to be done. Say, take a little bit of weight off, improve the brakes, lower the suspension. That kind of thing improves this car immeasurably. And of course, by definition, these ratings have to factor in the kind of potential that the car has when upgraded. And when you factor that in, it does help the score out because of how good you can make the car ultimately. As far as acceleration goes, and this is where that tuning really comes into play, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. Because although in stock form it's certainly not what you'd call quick, it has after all only got 85 horsepower, with tuning, that potential goes through the roof. The engine conversions, the all-wheel drive conversions, the turbos, the superchargers, you can do so much to this car to make it better. And those upgrades actually make it capable of taking on not only classic muscle cars, but modern ones too. As far as top-end speed goes, I'm actually going to give it another 3, because again, in stock form, it's not great, and it does require quite extensive tuning to really get that top speed to be up to par. Even when tuned, it's not among the quickest of hot rods or muscle cars in general, which is why I'm not rating it even higher. As far as value for money though, I am going to give it another 4, because at 44,000 credits, it's far more affordable than many of the other muscle cars in the game, and as I mentioned earlier, it's got such a huge range of car classes and performance levels that you can tune it through, that it's just a really versatile car for the money. And of course, that leads us on directly to the final category of use, or usability, and that's exactly why I'm giving this car a strong 5, because you can have it with rear-wheel drive, with all-wheel drive, you can swap out the engines, you can have it in D-Class, C-Class, B-Class, A, S. It's such a versatile car on and off-road for drag, circuit, sprint. It can do basically whatever you need the car to do. And that means that overall, I'm giving the Ford Deluxe Coupe within the muscle car and hot rod class an overall score of 76. But that's it for this pick overall. I'll see you guys next time, and as always, thanks for watching.